Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video is designed for developers who are still using pip, VNV or even poetry. You have to watch this video carefully until the end because today we are going to talk about UV. Now when I say UV, UV is basically a kind of a Python package manager which is recently used in most of the projects, and it is being built to replace the entire old Python environment workflow. Now, when I say this, I am saying this because UV is much more faster when it comes to installing dependencies or libraries using as compared to pip. It's more reliable than VNV. It's simpler to install as compared to Poetry, and it's production ready. So in this tutorial, we will go step by step and try to build a real Python project using UV from scratch. So first step is we are going to see how we can install UV. So for that, I'm going to take you to the official website. So let me search for this one. Yeah, so this is the official documentation website or official website of UV. So here you can see, because I'm using a Windows machine, so I've clicked here. This is the command to install UV. So you can copy this and you can install it. So let me go back to my VS Code and I'm going to type the command. So you can see here. Yeah, so this is the command which I'm going to use. So you just remember here there are two important keywords, IRM and IEX. So IRM here, what it does, it downloads and installs the script from this particular URL. And IEX is for uh, executing it immediately. So let me click on this one. Now you can see it's downloading and it has downloaded all the necessary files. You can see here the messages, everything is being installed. Now we are going to check the version, UV dash dash version, enter. So see UV 0.11 is being installed. So basically we check the version to see that uh, to check the version obviously, but also to check that the UV is being installed correctly or not. Okay, so now the next thing is once we have installed UV in our system, we are going to create our first project with the so what I'm going to do, I'm already inside this folder D projects. I'm going to create a kind of a directory. So going to use the mkdir UV tutorial and enter. So it has already created a UV tutorial inside this particular folder. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open that particular folder. Now we are going to work on that particular project folder. So let me go to files D, then go to the project, and inside this you can see here UV tutorial. Click on select folder. So now we have this particular folder is being opened. I'm going to again enter the new terminal. So by default, it is inside this particular folder. Now, the next step which we are going to do here is, please remember this particular folder is right now empty. You can see. So I'm going to initialize this project with UV. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to type UV init. So it is going to initialize UV. So let me, if I click on this one, so you can see here it has initialized the project UV tutorial. Now, what happens when we do this initialization process? It's going to create the git ignore file. Please remember, it's going to show the Python version 3.31. It's create a simple Python py file. Okay, and the most important thing is it's going to create a kind of a pyproject.2.2ml file which contains the name, it has the version, and you can change the description because this is an editable file. What is the Python version here? And it also has a README file. Okay, and what are the dependencies? So whatever things which you are going to install, it's going to come inside this dependency. So this is what happens when you create the UV init file. Now, what happens? What is the importance of this? Is like this file replaces the requirement.txt, setup.py, and a kind of a manual VNV management system. Okay, so that's why this is the advantage of using the UV. Now, the next step, what we are going to do, we are going to add the dependencies. Now, when I say add dependencies, I'm going to add the libraries, how to install the libraries. Okay, so let's say if I'm to do UV, or let me copy it because I have already written the command. And if I paste it, so what I'm going to do here, I want to install request, FastAPI and UVCon, and I press enter. So you can see here, all these libraries are getting installed here. Now, what happens here is you see here the pipe project.2ml. The first thing what happens, it gets updated with these libraries, which is in the dependencies, you see all these three libraries which we installed. Okay. Now, the next thing is it also creates a kind of a uv.log file. So if you click on this uv.log file, it creates, it has all the versions of the libraries which is being installed. Okay. So let's say if I'm installing fast API, so there are certain other libraries which is also dependent on fast API. So that those also um, will be installed here. Okay. So this is how, and apart from that, it also created a virtual environment, v.vnv environment. Okay. So we can activate that vnv environment. So for activating this, we can just, I have that command here. Okay, yeah, so we can just do this .vnv scripts activate .pso and enter. So you see here, this particular environment is activated. You can see here, it's being shown in the command line. Now, the next step is, okay, so what happened here when we did this uv add command? So it installed packages, it updated the pyproject.2ml, and it created uv.log file. Now, there's always a question with everybody, like what is the difference between pyproject.2ml and uv log file? So the difference here is like pyproject.2ml file is a kind of a project definition file. It can be edited. You can write anything. You can add the scripts also inside this. So basically, it's a kind of a shopping list. What you want, and uv.log file is what exactly versions were installed. So it's auto-generated. It cannot be edited. You cannot edit this file, and it's a kind of a final bill that okay, these things you have purchased. What exactly you want? What exactly you got? Okay, so that's the difference between pyproject.2ml and the uv.log file. Now, the next thing is once this has been created, okay, so let me clear this one. So now, in the next step is we are going to do the command uv sync. So when we do this uv sync, why we do this UV sync? So this ensures that your environment exactly matches the log file. So whenever you are taking the project from your colleague, you just do this UV sync. So everybody has the same libraries. So you see here, it resolved all of them. Now, but we can see that we can just test it how that everything is working fine. So we will just paste as one line, cancel, and then enter. You're just checking that it's so dependency is working. So it's a correct the installation is correct. Okay. Now once we have done this one, so what we are going to do, we have already done our setup with UV. Now we are going to create a kind of a simple fast API project. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a inside this UV tutorial, I'm going to create a mkdir app file. Enter. So this app file is being created, and inside that app file, I'm going to create a main.py file. Okay, so main.py file. So yeah, or we can also do it like main.py file, and I'm also going to create a kind of a requirement dot in file. Requirement dot. Let me change to requirement dot in file. Okay, so inside the app, we created two files, main.py and this file. Okay, so now what we are going to do, we are going to write a simple code of fast API here. So let me copy this, Control C and Control V. So this is the code. Let me save it. So it's simple, very much simple code. Okay, using the fast API. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to run this one. So for running this, we have to click on and then enter. So you see here, this is already started running. And when I click on this one, so yes, UV powered fast API. So it is being working fine. So yes, let me close this one and do Control C. So now our fast API app is working. Okay. Now what we are going to look into next is like uh, we are going to look into the log files and this and reproducibility. Okay. So what we are going to do, we are going to uh, do the command uv lock. So when we do uv lock, what happens here is like it the lock file ensures that the same versions in every machine. So no, we always have this kind of issues like when you're sharing your code, it's like it works on my machine, but it doesn't works on your machine. So this is what happens when the UV lock, when you do this UV lock. So it resolves this particular problem. Okay, so we can also use this UV sync uh, dash dash frozen. So this is like also one of the important command. Okay, so it's like syncs exactly in CI/CD the exact versions. Okay, so let me see. So you see, it checked all the 18 packages here. So these things are to just ensure the compatibility. There's no compatibility issues when the project is being shared by multiple people or multiple people are working on the project. Okay, so now let's say if you want to get some values from the requirement.txt, so you can also do this command, which is uv export requirement.txt. This command, if you export, so it's going to export the requirement.txt. See, it got the requirement.txt. So it contains all the necessary files. Okay. So now the next thing is which we are going to look into is the development workflow. So let's say if we want to install any kind of a dev tools. So what we can do for installing, we always use the UV add. So UV add. So let's say if I say, let me Yeah, so for installing this one, uh, so let's say if I want to do this, okay. So what we are doing here is we are installing the rough PyTest. So rough is basically for linting, fast Python checker, and then you have the PyTest for the testing framework for unit testing, and then you have the black for auto formatting. Okay, so and this dash dash dev here refers to the development environment, not for the production. Okay, so let me when I enter it, so it's going to resolve all of them. Okay, and it's being installed. This particular everything is being installed. Now, if I have to check, so let me clear this. So if I have to check that they are installed, so let me say if I do this UV run um, rough check dot enter. See, all the checks are being passed. Okay, so now and you see here requirement. We have yes. So one, and then what we are going to do, if we want to check that PyTests are, if we want to run the PyTest, so if we just do UV run, although we don't have any unit test right now, but if we can use it, UV run PyTest and enter. So you see here, it's going to look into all the detail about all the unit tests uh, and run it. And if you want to check that, okay, uh, the formatting is done correct for the code, so we can just run UV run black required. Yes, I think there is some issues because there is no uh, um, none of the source or code is being required because yeah, there is no code is required. There is no code we have selected here, so that's why it's showing the this one. So this way we can install the dev tools and we can look into it that what we can do. Okay, the next thing is like when we talk about is about Python versions. So we can check what Python versions are here. So you can just say that UV Python list. So it's going to give us all the Python versions which it has. Okay. So if we want to install a particular version, so we can just do UV Python install, and then we can just go for 3.12 and 3.13, and we can just install that. So it's going to install only those particular uh, Python. Okay. Now, the next thing is like if you want to run your code, let me clear this. If you want to run your code on a specific version. So you can just say UV, uh, V and V. Okay. So, but before doing that, what you have to do, you have to delete dash Python. Let's say if I want a 3.313 version or 3.14 version in my system. Okay. So, and when you run this, so it's going to give me an error. The reason is, if I say yes, so it's going to give because it's already being used here. So I have to close this one. I have to delete the VNV file, which is being already used here. And then I can replace this with the version which I want. So it's going to create a new .vnv file. I want you to practice this on your own. So this way you can switch the Python versions as per the project without breaking the system Python. Okay. So next thing is like we can also add the CLI tools. So I can just let me clear this. So you can just say UV tool install rough, enter. So rough is already installed because we have already installed it before that. So let's say if I say UV tool install HTTPX, enter. So it's okay. Because there are no versions of HTTPS, you require HTTPS. Okay. So let me say enter. Sorry, I put the wrong command. HTTPX. Yeah. I put HTTPS. So yeah, so this is like how we can install tools also. Instead of using UV add, we can use UV tool and install. It's going to install that. And here, what's happening is like we can also check that what tools we have. UV tool list, enter. So you see here, these are the tools which we have already installed. So this is the version of HTTPX, then HTTPX and rough. Yeah. Next thing is what we can do. We can also create a kind of for the production and Git. This is being created. So what we can do in the last step is we can create a kind of a Git ignore file. So Git ignore file will tell us what things kind of a security file, what things which we don't need to deploy in our code. So we can just put these things that okay, we don't want to deploy these things. So most important thing is the VNV dot environment file, because dot environment file contains your security keys and all those things. And if you want to have some confidential downloads with the so basically it contains all the development files and all those important things which you don't want to be deployed in the environment. Okay. So so this is basically for not to have any kind of a leaking secret or pushing virtual environments or unnecessary files, which are basically the project dependencies, so which is not required to share to deploy. So yeah. So and then what you can do is like the next step, we can do just git init. We can initialize the git, and we can just do the git add dot. You can also use this one for adding it. You can just do git add enter. So you see here, all the files are being added. And then you can do the git push to your remote. Sorry, before git push, we have to do this git commit -m. And here, you can just put a message initial UV project setup and then enter. So, okay, I think I have put a wrong spelling. Yes. Now I will put the enter. So you see here, all of them are being created, and now I have to publish the branch and I have to put it in the remote things. So this is all about the UV setup and how you can set it up for your project. If you have any questions related to this, please let me know in the comment section, and please do like and subscribe. Thanks a lot for watching this video.